here's a picture from the pandemic, and what Murphy and I and Phillipson, really from the day school was closed, we were thinking about the pandemic from this excess burden point of view. There's some total costs of the virus circulating around, and it's decomposed into these two parts. And I started a website where I tracked on a daily basis my estimates of these two parts. So delta and T. T would be, as I said with the opioid case, it's measured in deaths. Now, to combine it, I converted it to dollars, so the deaths are converted to dollars, but a blue line is just number of people who died times a value of life, value of each life. And that value is constant over time. So when the blue lines are higher, that means more people dying. And then the red line was my, red bars stacked on top of there, was my estimate of the opportunity costs. All the things that we were doing differently, like having closed schools, in order to avoid the deaths. That's the whole point of the delta, right? People are doing that. Now you could ask whether it was rational or not. Maybe the government was forcing us to do too much of these things. That's a great question. But these actions, they had opportunity costs. And we were supposedly taking these actions in order to avoid being one of the, either ourselves or a family member, from being one of the COVID statistics. Of course, on TV, you got to see the blue line all the time. They had a tracker in the bottom of every TV program. How many people dying from COVID? But the economists like, well, that number, it's a real thing, yes, but that's not the whole cost. And early on in the pandemic, first 6-9 months, there wasn't even the majority of the cost. The majority was doing all those other things. And furthermore, we were again saying very early, if we have a medical innovation, and we were confident that we would have a medical innovation, so many diseases we have alleviated with medical innovation. Once we have an innovation, we should not judge it on the lives saved. We should judge it, that's part of it, but the other part is the value of the freedom that people will get, because doing the things they used to do aren't so dangerous anymore. That's what we said. Of course, not everyone listens to us. Maybe most people don't listen to us. So when the vaccine came out, there was a lot of judgment about, well, is it saving lives or not? Yeah.
Why are the series so volatile? What is the spiking?
Yeah, this is a daily thing, and a lot of times the deaths were released on Monday. Yep. Yeah.
Isn't there some sort of issue here where the kind of the benefit of this red, of the opportunity cost, isn't just kind of like this period or next period deaths, but it's like the change in the integral of deaths in the future history of the world, in a sense? Because it's like, it could be that like I'm paying an opportunity cost right now, and
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I just showed you can add up, you can integrate blue, you can integrate red as you wish. That's fine. Yep. And you can make the argument, I mean, we went on for 6 or 9 months here with way more red than blue, but you can make the argument, well, something I did here saved a life, like way over here. Why won't it save a life here? There's also the other argument that people are making, no, if you're to, and China experiences, if you save a life now, you're actually creating a death later, because everyone's going to get it eventually. So there's that argument as well. We didn't take a stand on this. We just said opportunity costs are real, and we had much easier time explaining them to people than we used to in our classes, because it wasn't so hypothetical to people, because they knew I'm not in school anymore. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I can see what you guys mean by opportunity cost. It's not something I'm pulling out of my pocket. I'm not paying a bill for not being in school, but I'm worse off from that. Yeah.
But I guess the point to be made is that you can definitely see the gap shrinking, right? Maybe we learn through time how to actually title this in a more efficient way. So you could say that maybe if the vaccine was longer, maybe we'll have an offset at some point by actually targeting our policies correctly.
Yeah, no doubt that there was learning. No doubt. Yep, the economist's view is just that there's that, number one, there's that extra cost. Number two, they might not even have the same sign at the margin. So don't judge the innovation on saving lives. So here's a picture. Now, I'm a big fan of the vaccine. I can tell you stories. I worked on the vaccine before there ever was a COVID. It's a great thing. But let's look at two groups here when the vaccine was rolled out. So these are COVID death rates for very old people and very young people. You guys were in that category at the time. And you can see that for the very old people, when there was a COVID wave going through, the nursing home was pretty grim. And a lot of deaths among older people, particularly in nursing homes. They roll out the vaccine to the older people. You don't get those bumps anymore. Now maybe it's something else, whatever. Something happened with the older people. How about the younger people? Something happened with the younger people in the opposite direction. Now they start experiencing these spikes. From the excess burden point of view, we can see pretty clear. In fact, the young people is kind of an extreme case because not only did we cut their price of going out and meeting people, their personal mortality, which is trivial, because their grandma had the vaccine, now they had the freedom to go out because they didn't want to harm grandma. So you could understand you could get an increase. These are indexes, by the way. The red one is much lower for the younger people, much, much lower. But the young people start to go out and live life as normal. And as a result, a very small fraction, but bigger than before, gets the virus, and they died from it. So we were saying ahead of time, this is not Monday morning quarterbacking. We should not judge the efficacy of the vaccine on these or any other innovation based on that. Now there's a whole industry now of saying, well, the vaccine killed young people. That should be studied and everything like that. But we warned that an effective vaccine could give the appearance of causing more deaths. And it doesn't mean that the vaccine was somehow a problem. So, okay, that's excess burden. A lot of things we can do with the cost function, right? And so week 2 in price theory, you can say a lot. You can say a lot of things that you haven't heard before, right? But I think are serious hypotheses to investigate and consider just with a little bit of price theory. So we were going